Would you ever doubt Jedi Master Yoda? Of course not. But what about the man who created him? Let's take a look at the Yoda scene that scared George Lucas to death. Star Wars: Attack of the Clones is possibly the most underrated Star Wars prequel film. While both Revenge of the Sith and The Phantom Menace have their defenders, Attack of the Clones was always the ugly duckling of the trilogy. It was maligned for supposedly doubling down on the bad dialogue, poor acting, and the political plots of the first film.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
But what people didn't appreciate at the time was the great decisions Attack of the Clones actually made. It gave us Hayden Christensen as Anakin, Obi-Wan's glorious mullet, phenomenal villains like Count Dooku and Jango Fett, and last but not least, it mostly got rid of Jar Jar. And while it did have a terrific political thriller subplot with Obi-Wan as a Jedi private eye, it was also filled with wonderful giddy fight scenes Star Wars fans had only pictured in their wildest dreams. One was the promise of seeing dozens of Jedi ignite their lightsabers simultaneously in battle. But another now famous fight scene proved to be George Lucas's worst nightmare during production. The scene in question happens toward the end of the film after Obi-Wan and Anakin try to fight Count Dooku. They are defeated quite easily by the former Jedi, with Anakin even losing an arm in the process. With all hope lost, it is up to 800-year-old Master Yoda to save the day, and perform some awesome acrobatics while doing so. The moment Yoda ignites his lightsaber and jumps into Dooku is the moment where the old Jedi Master proves his incredible power in combat, and when this happened, fans from around the world lost their collective minds. The fact that Yoda's adversary was Sir Christopher Lee, one of the greatest cinema legends of all time, was just the icing on the cake.
Fought well you have, my old Padawan.
This is just the beginning.
But although the end result may have had fans cheering, the path to creating this scene was paved with tons of anxiety and many sleepless nights for George Lucas and his team of visual effects wizards. Lucas said on the film's Blu-ray commentary track, "I was scared to death of this sequence and how we were going to pull this off. This was the biggest risk in the whole movie. Could I make this realistic enough to make it believable, or would it be this ludicrous joke?" The way out of the ludicrous joke was neither easy nor quick. The original script had Yoda engage Dooku with a lightsaber the moment he entered the hangar. Members of the Industrial Light and Magic visual effects team, including visual effects supervisor John Knoll, convinced Lucas to extend the sequence, and most importantly, Lucas agreed to have a show of force power take place before the lightsaber duel.
I've become more powerful than any Jedi. Even you.
This change proved to be vital. We've already known Yoda is adept at using the Force ever since he lifted up an entire spaceship in Empire Strikes Back. On top of that, other characters were constantly building up how wise and powerful Master Yoda is in the first two prequel films. But we haven't yet seen him use a lightsaber. So switching suddenly from a static character who has only been sitting on a chair for the last two movies to a jumping acrobatic swordsman would have felt quite jarring. Animation director Rob Coleman backed this idea up on the Blu-ray commentary, saying, "We felt if we got into the fight too quickly, the audience would not be able to travel that distance from Yoda being an 800-year-old character to be able to go around with such speed and be nimble." To fix this, the ILM team came up with what they called the Wizards Battle, which they hoped would bridge the gap between the old and wise Jedi and the lightning-fast swordsman. This worked wonders because while this film gave every Jedi in existence a lightsaber, we had yet to see a proper Force duel before. Earlier in the film, Anakin describes Yoda as the most powerful Jedi alive, and this fight actually shows us why. But there was another challenge Lucas encountered, a logistical one. He had to make Yoda, who had only been a puppet up to this point, mobile enough to actually perform a choreographed fight scene. And in order to do this, some real cinematic wizardry was required, and we're talking about a lot more than when Kermit the Frog rode a bicycle. To accomplish this, they needed an entirely digital version of Yoda. So the effects wizards at ILM studied footage from Yoda's first appearance in Empire Strikes Back, and gave the digital version the same nuanced movements to simulate the puppet. According to the Blu-ray commentary, Lucas was convinced the sequence would work the moment he saw Yoda enter the stage. "I was worried right up to the point where the animators showed me the shot where he walks in and looks tough. Suddenly, Yoda in his acting, I believe this was a tough character you had to look out for. This is what we've been waiting for."